Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Bushman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at each life path number forecast for August 2023. Before we get into that, this, of course, is a general forecast. If you would like your own personal year-ahead forecast, diamond forecast, your compatibility report with another person, your full numerology report, your business report, numerology has you covered. Just book some time with me. My information is in the description box below, and let's take a look. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the August forecast for each individual life path number. Okay, life path number 1. So I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all for August, and not surprisingly, it matches the energy you all are working with beautifully. So you all are working with the energy of the 7, and I'm going to talk about what that means in just a moment. But the animal wisdom message that came through for you all is blue heron. This is really beautiful, and I love this for a lot of reasons. But the first thing that comes to mind is there's definitely something here around diplomacy and peacemaking. So sort of like 2 energy, which is funny because it's kind of the opposite, not the opposite, but it's, one energy is more sort of self-focused or self-driven. 2 energy looks at diplomacy, relationships, connectivity. And so what this immediately brought to mind, especially because you're working with the energy of the 7 in August, is this sort of balance or harmony or peacemaking between the head and the heart. So with 7 energy, there's definitely sort of this 2 sides to the 7, right? There's the very practical, physical, logical, knowledgeable, truth-seeking side. Then there's the very ethereal, mystical, metaphysical, sort of unseen side, more the intuitive, psychic, heart-led side of the 7. And so I really do feel like for this month, there's going to be a lot of sort of self-discovery, right? Like self-reflection, but really kind of paying attention to where it is that you're out of balance when it comes to the head and the heart. Where is it that the head maybe overrides the heart, or vice versa, right? As opposed to sort of using all sides of oneself and coming to a conclusion or making a decision from that place. So if you have felt out of balance with that, where you are doing things out of fear or out of sort of the stories that the ego creates to quote unquote protect us, and you feel it in your heart that you are meant to be doing something different, then this month is really going to put a lot of pressure on that for you to really pay attention where it is that you feel out of alignment, where it is that you're saying yes to something where maybe you should be saying no, or you're saying no to something where you really know that you're supposed to be saying yes as it comes back to self, right? And so with blue heron coming through, there's definitely something here around paying attention to that inner feeling, right? So when we're looking at the intuition, it's the very first hit. It's the first thing that we feel. But then right behind it comes the mental chatter, comes the mind, right? And so it's very easy for the mind or the ego to override what the heart knows to be true. And we can talk ourselves out of things that are truly meant for us because of irrational fears. And vice versa, we can be we can have all the information in front of us and sort of convince ourselves that it's not for us for whatever reason. So we can be constantly moving against ourselves when we're not listening to ourselves. And so I feel like this energy with blue heron coming through, and then also with the energy of the 7, there's a big emphasis this month and just making sure that you feel balanced when it comes to your own head and heart, right? And that when you make your decisions, that it's coming from that space of congruency as opposed to sort of working against yourself. The other thing I love about Blue Heron, and one of the reasons why I'm so excited for this coming through, is that it's often seen as a positive omen, a positive sort of solution, or something like a big reward coming in for efforts put forth. So a lot of times when Blue Heron shows up, it's sort of like a reaping of a harvest, right? Like, so you've sown the seeds, you've nurtured the seeds, you've watched something grow, and now you are reaping the harvest and getting the goods, so to speak. So I love that for you all, ones. Now, when it comes to 7 energy, what I want you to pay attention to this month is, where is it that maybe you have been neglecting yourself? And I say that like across the full spectrum, like holistically. I'm not just looking at the head and the heart now. I'm saying holistically. So body, mind, spirit. Is there an area where you've been sort of putting yourself in a self-imposed prison, where it is that maybe you have been neglecting your needs or your desires for someone else? So self-sacrificing your own happiness, so to speak, for another. If there's anywhere, right? Or where is it maybe that you have been allowed yourself to become disconnected to your higher self, or spirit, or whatever you subscribe to. Or, if it has to do with health, where is it that you've been neglecting the vehicle that carries the soul, that maybe there needs to be some reevaluation, and just see, is there somewhere that you can show up for yourself in a more holistic fashion that serves you, so that you can continue to move forward with your big visions and ambitions, right? Being a 1. So this month could sort of slow things down a little bit to allow for that self-reflection, for going inwards, for discovering greater truths about self. A lot of times when we move through a 7 cycle, which this is for you all, these cycles of 7 can bring in the bigger answers to the bigger questions. So if there's something that you keep posing to the universe or to God or to, a higher power or whatever, you may see those answers come in. And now they may look different than what you had anticipated or than how you want them to look, but be open to the messages that come in and then explore them, right? And see how you can integrate and see how you can work with whatever it is that comes in for you. The other thing I would say with this 7 cycle is to pay attention to where it is that the inner critic comes out. A lot of times with 7 energy, because it can be so hyper-focused, it can be a very hyper-focused energy. What can happen is the inner critic can come out and we start to criticize ourselves or others for not meeting sort of predetermined or preset expectations. So the 7, though it can feel a little harsh at times because it does sort of require us to do that self-reflection and really kind of do the self-work, it really leads us down a path to where we can alleviate wherever it is that we keep tripping ourselves up, wherever it is that we keep holding ourselves back, not to avoid it, not to suppress it, but to really face it, work through it, move through it, and through that process, uncover a deeper truth about ourselves, which then we can run with. So it is ultimately just incredibly beautiful energy to move through, but it can feel like things are slowing down a little bit, only so that we have the space and the time to be able to look inwards. This is definitely a period where your greatest answers are going to come from within, not from without. You may face circumstances that help to put the pressure wherever it needs to be, but your greatest answers this month will come from within you. So, very transformative month ahead for you all potentially, right? Again, it's what we choose to do with the energy, but lots of the 7 energy can pack a big punch, but in a good way. So I hope it's a beautiful one for you all, ones. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.